Hi scuba divers out there, welcome to Scuba Diving Magazine. In this video I'm breaking down 10 of my favourite diving torches right now for 2022 in 10 different categories, because a great torch for one diver could be completely unsuitable for another diver. Now, full clarity, I'm going to stick to the bigger brands because there are countless unbranded torches out there today available to buy online that claim certain specifications for just ridiculous prices, and it is just impossible to keep up with them and just to verify all of their information. So I'm just going to stick to the real big brands that you don't actually have to verify their claims. I mean, dive torch technology has just come a huge distance since I started scuba diving. Battery technology combined with new LEDs have made underwater torches much more powerful and with even longer burn times, and you don't have to change the bulbs anymore. And some really do specialize for specific applications, so let's dive straight in and see if your torch is on the list. A lot of divers today travel for their scuba diving, and if you're on a week-long liveaboard, you're out at sea for the best part of a week, where if you're using your torch a fair bit, that can make things a bit tricky, mostly about power management though. For this situation, I personally prefer a rechargeable torch that you can top up as you go, so I don't have the dilemma of taking a torch with a questionable amount of power left in the battery because I've been using it throughout the week and it's got, I don't know, 10% left in that battery. Should I replace it? Should I swap out that battery and then waste that potential 10% charge? Yeah, I don't know. And then you've got to bring a whole bunch of extra spare batteries. So for this, I picked the Apex Lunar ADV dive torch. The Lunar ADV is a beast of a dive torch with up to 3600 lumens of light, but for traveling divers, you can recharge it through the body with a USB cable. Does come with like actual plugs, which I presume act a little bit faster, but you can still charge it up with a USB cable. So you can use the same USB charger as your tablet and your smartphone if they are USB charged, and you don't need to bring any additional bulky chargers or spare batteries with you, just that USB cable. The Lunar ADV is also factory sealed, so you never have to worry about the O-rings when you're opening it up to change the batteries or anything. It's factory sealed, and it's a really handy design if you're out and about. And the screen on the back ensures that you know exactly how much power left inside of the torch. It literally spells it out in like words and numbers instead of just colors, and at its lowest power setting you can draw 36 hours of burn time out of it, and that's going to last the entire liveaboard. If you want to get into your videos, your underwater videos, then you can't use just a standard dive light because they often have hot spots and hard edges to their beams that will show up in your footage, and it really brings the viewer out of it. It stands out, it makes it look a bit weird. But a dedicated video light like the Sea Life Sea Dragon, the 3000F, is a great starting point. It's really a top-notch underwater video light because the way that you buy it, you get it with a tray that you can attach your camera onto and a quick change arm system to pose the light where you need it to get the right angle. 3000F evenly casts its light over a wide 120-degree wide angle beam that gently tapers off around the edges, so it illuminates your subject without standing out. The 3000F also has red LEDs that won't disturb marine life. Whilst you're lining up your shot, you can illuminate things and then switch it on. And it also has a light sensor on the front that can detect photo strobes for less interference, and it also uses it to auto brightness so that it actually dims the light to reduce overexposure depending on the ambient light source. If you're looking for one dive torch that can cover most dive plans, then you've got to hand it to the Mares EOS LRZ range. And I say range because it's not just a single torch. They make an entire range from a big 3200 lumen torch down to a compact 520 lumen light, depending on your needs. But each torch itself is flexible. They have variable power settings, so you can set high beam and low beam as you need them. But a nice feature of the EOS range is that you can change the beam angle on the go. Most torches are just a fixed beam angle. They're either a spotlight or a floodlight or kind of something in the middle. The EOS torches can be whatever you want at the time, and the rechargeable battery inside can be topped up with a USB charger as well, so it's a great all-rounder of a torch. And because they make 4 or 5 different sizes and different powers, you get to choose the one that's appropriate for you. As divers, we love equipment redundancy. Should something go wrong, we carry a spare. And a lot of divers carry a primary dive torch for when they know that they're going to need a torch on that dive, but tend to carry a backup dive torch on every single dive, just in case they need it. So you want something relatively compact, with a decent punch, and most importantly, it's got to be reliable. It's the backup should your primary fail. That led me to the Apex Luna Mini. The Luna Mini is factory sealed, and you charge it through the body with a USB cable, so you don't have to worry too much about it just clipped off to a D-ring or in a pocket, because that O-ring seal, it's factory sealed, so it's good to go. It's also pretty compact, so you're not going to notice it when it's stowed away in a pocket or on a shoulder strap. And the Luna Mini kicks out 1,000 lumens of light, which is suitable as a primary dive light for a lot of divers. If you need more power, you typically need a larger torch so that it acts as a bigger heatsink, and it has, of course, a bigger battery. So for long dives where you need a primary light to burn for a long time with a decent amount of brightness, instead of having a huge two-handed torch because you need such a big battery, then you can have a umbilical torch. You have a battery pack that attaches to your waistband or behind you with a cable that runs to a head that's attached to your hand that actually produces the light. You can have a very, very powerful light that way that can run for a long time because you've got the big battery, but instead of it clamped onto your hand and having a really heavy, bulky torch, it's clamped somewhere a bit more suitable. And a great umbilical light is the Ammonite Nautilus. With a sensible size, the Nautilus can produce 4,000 lumens, and the Nautilus has an adjustable beam angle and also has different power settings, so you can change just how bright it is. And with a big enough battery, you can get that 4,000 lumens for 6 hours out of the Nautilus at full power. The Nautilus also has a cool feature where it registers that if your battery is running low on power, it switches to a low power mode for its final hour so that you still get the light for as long as possible to get you out of the water. If you're on a budget, but you want a half-decent dive torch, I do like the Orca Torch D560. It's the smallest torch on this list, and it only uses a single AA battery or a 14500 battery, which makes it quite handy as well, just to stow away somewhere. You can use the rechargeable battery, and then if that starts to run low and you don't have time to recharge it, you swap it out for a standard AA battery if you need to. Despite its small size, the D560 kicks out 630 lumens of light, which is plenty for a night dive in clear water, and it's not that much bigger than a AA battery, so it fits almost anywhere. If you're wearing clunky gloves though, it might be a little bit fiddly, but for a cheap dive torch with a decent amount of power, yeah, D560. Most diving torches are just torches. They produce light, as you kind of expect, and you could arguably use them to, I don't know, bash things, but that tends to be about it. But the D570GL from Orca Torch has a laser pointer built into it. When used responsibly, because it's a laser pointer, these can be very handy tools for scuba divers. If you need to point something out underwater, you usually have to either get fairly close to whatever it is and point to it with your finger, or like a pointing stick, which can be dangerous for you if the thing doesn't like a finger pointed in its face. You can end up bumping into things because of current or water movement. You can scare the thing off because you're getting a bit too close, or if you use your torch beam, that can be a bit vague, and the torch beam itself could freak the animal out. So with a laser, you can point things out from a great distance and great accuracy as well. It also has a regular torch to shine your way, but when and if you need to, you have that built-in laser pointer. Just be sure to avoid pointing it in eyes of marine life scuba divers. Just be responsible. But that's quite a useful tool to be able to point something out from a pretty good distance. The Tovatech Mirror is one of those hybrids that before you heard of it, you probably wouldn't have considered. It's like, I don't know, back to the 90s or the early 2000s, whenever whoever came up with the idea of putting a camera on a mobile phone, whoever came up with that, genius. And now all phones have at least one camera built into them. It just makes sense. And the Mirror is a dive torch with a built-in camera. And it kind of makes sense when you take a moment to think about it. You, of course, want some lights to bring color back to your footage, and whilst it won't come back with like BBC Blue Planet quality footage, if you're bringing your torch, you also have your camera with you if you need to take a quick snap. So it's quite handy. It has two lights built into it as well. It has a spotlight and a floodlight that you can use independently or together. And the rechargeable battery inside means that it's a pretty decent dive torch, and it has an underwater camera all rolled into one neat little torch. If you need pure, unadulterated power to just turn night into day underwater, or probably cook your breakfast as well, then the Metal Sub KL1242FS12, it's a mouthful of a name, but is the way to go. Bear in mind that I consider a 1000 lumen light to be a bit too bright for a night dive in clear water. The FS12 emanates 12,000 lumens of light if you use both the flood and spotlights together. It's just, it's also a brute. Like most metal sub torches, you can probably hammer a nail in with it. It's built to all sorts of military specifications and stuff, and anodized metals. And I personally have seen a metal sub torch that's been lost at sea for God knows how long, and then recovered. With a little bit of cleaning, it was back to full working order. With a big 15 amp hour battery, it can run at full power for up to 3 hours. That's full power for 3 hours. So yeah, just a beast of a torch. Should the worst happen and you need to be seen on the surface, most dive lights today do have a strobe function or an SOS function, but of course they're focused to whatever beam angle your torch has. So you have to be kind of pointing it in the right direction to be seen. But the Tektite 4500 strobe is a dedicated strobe light to help you stand out in the water. Your choice of body color and lens color as well, so you can color code whatever you're attaching this to and identify things in and out of the water. If you're attaching it to something under the water, then you can tell, well, the blue light is such and such. It's waterproof down to 150 meters. It has a 60-hour burn time from 3 C-cell batteries. The 4500 will help you be found if you're ever lost out at sea, and of course find whatever it's attached to. As I said at the start, the underwater dive light market has just exploded over the past few years, and these are just 10 of my top contenders right now that you should at least take a look at if you're in the market for a new dive light. But if there are any others out there that I missed that you like, by all means pop them down in the comments below for others to consider. Put in there like why you chose them and how you've got on with them, whether you like a particular dive torch or you didn't get on with it, just so they can make better buying decisions in the future. If you are in the market for a new dive torch, then by all means click on this link that's up in the top hand corner to take you to one of our affiliate dive stores near you. Remember to like and subscribe for more scuba diving content in your feed, and find us on all the major social media platforms. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.